Hello boxing fans, right now I'm talking about David Haye versus Dereck Chisora. Obviously this fight just ended in a 5th round knockout for David Haye. He won the fight. He is the number 3 heavyweight in the world right now. You know, the first thing I want to say is Dereck Chisora came into a very hostile crowd right here. I didn't notice why, you know. I don't mind Dereck Chisora, I think he's decent. I think a lot of what he does is actually put on. I think it's a show really. He got in the ring, he looked determined, you know. And then David Haye came out and he looked even more determined. This was going to be a good fight, you could just tell straight away. David Haye built for speed. Dereck Chisora, I didn't know what he was built for, to be honest. He wasn't bad, you know. His conditioning wasn't his best, but it wasn't bad, and he looked decent, you know. Even when he was cutting down the ring, he was taking the sense of the ring, taking the fight to Haye, covering up quite well. He did everything he needed to do, you know. But the better man won. That's all you gotta realise. The better man was just so much better, and it was basically because he's never had to deal with anything like David Haye has before. You know what David Haye is, that is. You see, David Haye is very explosive. He matches himself on speed. He's very elusive on the back foot. You know, he never gets caught cleanly. You know, Vladimir Klitschko caught him cleanly once, and he didn't put him down. So I think people have really overhyped this weak chin thing. Every time he's been knocked down, it's been a temple shot, except for the Mormac shot where he was actually slipping at the time. If you watch that, you know, I understand there's a lot of haters right outside now who are like, they don't like Haye. You know, they'll just love to disagree with that point, you know. And if you know, haters gotta hate, birds gotta fly, you know, fish gotta swim, haters have to hate, that's all I can say. But he is the number 3 heavyweight in the world right now. He is looking to get a fight with Vitaly Klitschko right now, or even the rematch with Vladimir. I think either would be good. You know, I'd like to see what happens now that that Haye is 100%. You know, people. Well, this is what I don't understand. You know, when Dereck Chisora beat Robert Helenius, everyone was saying like, oh, you know, Robert had the bad arm. You know, oh no, you know, Vitaly had the bad arm. He twisted his sock. You know, etc. etc. But when anyone says, you know, David Haye had a broken toe, you know, they sweep that under the carpet like it's bullshit. You know, he's shown us it. What have we seen of, you know, the Vitaly shoulder? You know, he's fighting again quite soon, so it couldn't have been that bad. You know, Helenius, he's not been out since, which suggests it was actually an injury. But you know, you can't say I've got an injury and then just like don't pull out the fight and then blame your performance, your awful performance on it. You know, that's what I've always pointed out. Even if it's true, pull out the fight if you're injured. Don't fight injured. I just don't understand that part, you know. Double standards really in boxing. Because of, you know, like I said, haters gotta hate. Going down into this fight, you know, I gave every round to Haye. You know, the first round, he was quite elusive. He actually took the centre of the ring at the beginning. He landed a good few shots. His volume was very high. I thought Dereck's would be higher, but it wasn't. Dereck did cut down the ring quite well though, but he couldn't get his shots off on the inside. David Haye, he nullified his attack on the inside, and the referee, luckily for David Haye, I think, was a very strict referee, and he kept breaking them up to a distance where Haye was obviously the favourite in that distance. Round 2, David Haye threw a few more bombs, but not many landed. I think he landed with one good one, and Dereck stood on the outside for a second, which is always a sign that he's hurt. Dereck always plows forward. He goes on the back foot when he's hurt, except for, I think it was round 4 it was, when he round 3 anyway, Dereck Chisora at the end. It was a close round. They both landed some good punches, but then at the end Dereck Chisora landed what was, I think, a right hook. Oh no, it was a left hand actually. I think it was a left hand. But the point was, it was after the bell, and it was actually considerably after the bell. So unfortunately, he couldn't score that as a scoring punch. Even though it was a very clean punch as well. So, and David Haye was hurt from it, by the way. So that's all I'm pointing out. He couldn't count it, and I gave that round to David Haye. Round 4, you know, David Haye was on the front foot in this round. Dereck Chisora actually went on the back foot for a few seconds, and I think that was to try and make David Haye gas himself out. I don't think he was actually hurt in that round. My phone is blowing up. My Twitter is going off constantly. Oh my days. I don't believe it. Yeah. Anyway, he was on the back foot. He was trying to make David Haye, you know, throw a lot of shots, tire him out. But I think David Haye, he decreased his output at that point, because I think he he read it, you know what I mean, in his mind. He saw that coming, and then Dereck came back forward. Obviously, it was a good round. It was a close round. They actually stood and fought at that round. Not something that we know about from David Haye. He knew he could. I think he knew he could take that. He could take Dereck Chisora's power. Dereck isn't, you know, a one-punch knockout artist. He is more of a cumulative puncher. You know, it does take a good 9 rounds of him coming steaming forward at you, landing punches for him to really hurt you. Unfortunately, it didn't go that far. In the 5th round, you know, obviously, it was actually on the inside that David Haye finished the job, because people have been saying he can't fight on the inside, and he was slipping shots on the inside from Dereck, and then he countered with a good 2 hooks and dropped Dereck Chisora for the first time in his career. Dereck got up, he looked hurt, you know, and then David Haye, he's just he is the best finisher in the game right now. I don't think there's anyone who can finish it as explosively as him. He came out, landed huge shots. You know, there's 4 or 5, maybe 6, you know, hooks that Dereck took without giving anything back, and he went down again, and he looked unconscious on his feet. He got up within 9. The referee called it off. I don't know if it was the right decision. Could he have continued? Maybe. Could he have given? He only had 30 seconds to have to survive, but then again, he could have went down again in that 30 seconds because Haye is such an explosive finisher. Yeah, I'd say the ending was justified. And then afterwards they embraced and said, it's over now. You know, the beef is over. So, which is a good thing for boxing. Boxing pretty much needed that, really. What else can I say about this? Oh yeah, Adam Booth was talking afterwards. I think he's the most underrated trainer in the world right now. You know, he's very tactical minded. He's all about the tactics. He's not about, like, you know, it's weird because people really hate him because he's smug, but he's one of the most underrated underrated trainers, in the world. I think he's just tactically on it constantly. You know, I think he's only ever got it wrong once, and that was with Wladimir. And you know how many other people have got it wrong with Wladimir, so not to be ashamed of. Where does David Haye go from here, and where does Dereck Chisora go from here? You know, well, Dereck Chisora, I think he should take some time out, get his head right, you know, come back, win a few fights, like 3 or 4 fights that he can win, and then go for Tyson Fury or David Price. I think that would be a good thing he could do. He could also fight Audley Harrison, you know, that would be a good fight too. Other than that, he can move himself towards Povetkin or try and get a fight with Wladimir. I'm sure there's still going to be a call for that if he wins another match. Other than that, where does David Haye go? I don't think Wladimir will rematch him. I just don't think it. Too much risk for too little reward. Vitali, you know, that's the fight I like to see. You know, Vitali, I think David Haye has a much better chance of beating Vitali because he's a lot more static in his older age. He does have good, you know, his movement, his lateral movement's not really there anymore. His front back leaning isn't 100%. His reflex is not 100%. His speed is slower. He turns like a cargo ship, but his power's there, and that's why it'll be a dangerous fight for Haye too. So I'd like to see both fights, you know, but that one's the one I want to see. If not, you know, I'd say get Povetkin in on the job. Get your old belt back, Haye. Fuck Povetkin shit up. I mean, he's only an 8-round fighter, and he'd be happy for the payday, you know, because David Haye, he brings money. He puts bums on seats like nobody else. I mean, there's only like 3 or 4 people who can put like consistent bums on seats, and that is like definitely David Haye, the Klitschko's, and maybe Marco Huck. He puts a lot of bums on seats. Other than that, not many people are into, you know, bringing 30,000 people to a stadium. That's all I can point out. You know, other than that, yeah, tell me what you think, but I thought it was a brilliant fight, and I'm looking forward to the Amir Khan fight, and I'll drop the post-fight to that in the morning, because I can't be bothered right now. I've got to answer all these tweets and Facebook messages. Thank you, goodbye.